Welcome to Drive with Hollie McRae. Season 2 of Drive is sponsored by Stage Mode, the new platform built to bring rallying into the digital age, launching in 2026. Right now, most rallies still rely on WhatsApp groups, spreadsheets, scattered communication, and service park gossip, none of which is conducive to a hassle-free event with a well-informed community. Stage Mode fixes that. Through the app, organisers get a proper control room dashboard, allowing them to manage their rally from one place from setup to the finish ramp. Marshals log car times and any incidents on their mobile phones, and fans get a clean, official live data portal that keeps them connected to the action. It's affordable, easy to deploy, and designed for clubs and rallies of all sizes. And, as a listener of Drive, you can be part of it from the very start. Whether you're an event organiser, marshal, driver, team or rally fan, head to stagemode.io to register your interest and be among the first to get updates from the source. The app is coming soon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you back to Drive and kick off Season 2. Boy, does it feel good to be back in the Colin McRae collection and back on the sofa. And I truly believe that there would be no better person to kick off Season 2 than the man who helped this space come to life. Tom Williams is a British rally driver who, up until this point, has competed in championships from those on UK soil to the American Rally Association and the Junior WRC. His own story has been bolstered by huge names of the sport, including Richard Burns, Barry McKenna, Ken Block, and these are all things that we will touch on in the next hour. In the last year, however, Tom has been spending most of his time away from rallying, and we will discuss why that is and where he hopes to be going in the future. Now, this episode was recorded quite some time ago, and there are a couple clues to that throughout, but I am sure you will enjoy our conversation nonetheless. And unfortunately, in that time, since filming and importing the video footage from this recording session, my laptop took it upon itself to digitally fry a lot of what was waiting in edit, so this episode will be audio only, whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube. So I do apologise that you don't get to see our lovely little faces as we chat. We won't let it happen again. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? I really hope that you enjoy episode 1. So Tom, welcome to the sofa. This feels a little bit of a full circle moment because for those of you that don't know, Tom was actually the one that helped me screw the feet onto this sofa and bring the collection to life. So it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time in this room and I think I actually slept on the sofa.
Literally, Tom and Darren were up here for, 3 days?
Yeah.
And in this room for the majority.
Yeah, when you're in this enclosed space for that much time and you're definitely going a bit crazy. And in winter time, there wasn't much light up here either. It's a bit chilly. Yeah, it's quite icy and snowy that time of the year. But no, it was a bit of an adventure and it was an amazing little project to be involved in. And as far as yourself collecting all the information and the research and trying to display this bigger part of history and rally all in it's a sizable room, but your dad's career needs an even bigger room than that. Yeah,
it was quite the project, and I felt like that would be a nice place to start in talking through this podcast because we really couldn't have done it without you, without the help from Genesis. And it just sort of grew arms and legs. The moment that we got you guys on board, you had all of these incredible ideas. And we were like, okay, well, we can't now not do these ideas or else it'll just be shit. So bringing people like yourself on board, it was my mum's idea actually, because she had seen a sort of pop-up, it was a trailer about Burnsy's career.
That's right. We did a couple exhibition stands and trailers just maybe to the charity of Richard's career.
Yeah.
And,
was it Rally GB or something?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure on the story.
That's right.
But Mum said that she remembered seeing this expo all about Richard Burns and his career, and she said it was amazing what they were able to do in such a small space.
And it was just very brief. It was a while ago, it was years ago as well. And Alison it was like a quick email just saying, could you do some frosting on the piece of, that was just that piece of glass.
Yeah.
Just could you do a couple of years and dates, maybe a map and a timeline, and that was it.
And now look at us, surrounded by
a whole room
even
and
more
everything, and I think that's when COVID hit, and we did, and then it fell on itself. No, of course we couldn't do any work, and it just kind of got left alone for a while, and then years later, I think something must have sprung to.
It was me.
Yeah,
I sprung. I came home from my travels, and my mum was like, "Right, we've spoken about this project in so many different forms and capacities, and it doesn't really get off the starting blocks really." And at that point, obviously, I was getting more involved in the sport, and she was like, "Why don't you take this project on, make it something that allows me to get more involved, learn a bit more about my dad?" And do you know what, actually? Fun fact, Alison let slip at Goodwood after the knowledge that now we're both spoken for. She was trying to play a bit of matchmaking.
Oh, okay, right.
Apparently that was her goal.
That's a good project.
She was like, we'll get Tom Williams involved. Maybe that would be something quite interesting.
Right.
And that came out after the ball, obviously, when she'd met Laura, and she's like, right, we've got John, we've got Laura, everyone's happy now. By the way. But no, it's worked out fantastically, and wouldn't have had it any other way. Having you guys involved was great.
And it was also a time, I think, when you had this room, you had a flooding, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Because this was your dad's original office.
Yeah.
And it had a flooding that was right, so you had to redo the floor, redo everything, and you had boxes full of everything everywhere.
Absolutely everything.
And
this place was an empty shell when you guys came in the first time.
And your mum wanted somewhere like, how do you have all these trophies, all these race suits, all these like hundreds and hundreds of pictures all in one space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a space it now has become.
Yeah, we fit it all in.
Just. We've got a cupboard bursting at the seams through there, but no, it's such a cool project, and for you guys to be able to squeeze that into your calendar as well was really important for us to have people that were involved and knowledgeable in the sport as well make such a difference. And I think now would be a good time to talk a little bit about Genesis as a whole and what it is that the company actually does.
Yeah, well, Genesis is our family business, and it's been around a while, and definitely got a hard motorsport angle, but we build and design exhibition stands, so mainly shows and events and trade shows all around the world, to be honest. And then that goes into conferences, interiors, and a lot on the design field. And my old man who started the company, he was a rally driver as no background in rallying, just enthusiast for cars and actually drag racing to begin with. And
really?
Yeah, it was just kind of that, I don't know. He was born in 1954 and kind of growing up seeing like Californian drag racing, that all the kind of style, and being a bit of a designer, seeing all the crazy liveries. And then, of course, in the UK at the time, all the car clubs would be local car clubs to us, which was between Reading and Oxford Way, would be road rallying or rallying, and that's what RAC was huge at the time, and Group B rallying was just about to blow up. And he, of course, just going to the local car club and going and getting involved with going on events, being a mechanic, and just anything near the sport, and kind of getting involved with escorts and Capris and starting off, and as well as him being a designer and constantly being between the two. So working hard and then trying to get out for your weekend, being involved in the sport in any sort.
I love that he's been able to totally just merge those together and create something really fantastic.
It was just a hobby, always just going out, enjoying a sport on the weekend, and then going back to work. And it was always like this. And he kind of started up his own business and went as far as he wanted as far as a hobby, but also had a couple young drivers in the same car club in the same area. And one of these drivers was Richard Burns, when he was kind of early years, like 15, 16, taking his dad to the same car club. And my dad at the time was driving a 6R4 in the kind of Group B kind of era. And Richard started following my dad around to a lot of the events. And whilst my dad was running his own studio, he kind of wanted to help him out and buy him a couple of tyres and just kind of support him, because car clubs were so much bigger back then, where people, a lot more social, a lot more people going out to events all together.
Yeah.
And whilst he was building, designing exhibition stands with like brands and companies all around the world, and he kind of merged this rallying, like never give up schedules. He kind of worked this into the business as well. So the business was also schedules, having all the spares, making sure you have everything. So they kind of run hand in hand, both things.
Lots of similarities, to be fair.
And he took the design side into the rallying. So the rally car's always clean, like perfect. The stickers are always lined up. There's no bubbles. Everything was pristine, and everyone had to look immaculate with team kit. And he kind of brought this into a young Richard Burns in a Peugeot 205. He was in a couple cars to begin with, and then started the Peugeot 205 that my dad started running Richard. But he ran it like his job with an exhibition stand, and
to precision.
Graphics, schedules, mechanics, team kit, but everything was done. Everyone was an enthusiast to begin with. No one was paid. Everyone just made their own way. All the mechanics were just, everyone had to make their own way, and had this really tight little team.
I suppose for any like 90s rally fans, that's where they would probably recognise the name Genesis, or maybe they hadn't really thought about it for a while, but it sprung something in their mind when they maybe heard of the project here. And it would have been from Burnsy's cars, and seeing that little bit of sponsorship on the side, and knowing that backstory and how much of a help your dad was to him. It is a really special relationship that they developed. And
so there was a lot of hand in hand with design and rallying all the way through. And with our job, there's always a lot of time pressure, because we have to build and design things within a day or two. And in the top of a hotel, and the top of a skyscraper, or around any country, you have to ship things, fly things. So there's a lot of schedules, and it's very similar to rallying. You have to go to the middle of nowhere, you have to have a load of people all there, and send a rally car all ready to go, and you have to be prepared and organised. So very similar, and that's kind of laid us up for doing these kind of jobs. And the research of this one was just amazing to work out the whole of Colin's career from things I never even knew about.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the sort of relationship between your dad and Richard Burns really then sort of gets demonstrated how important it was when you came along and your parents chose to ask Richard to be your godfather.
Yes.
And that undoubtedly must have had a huge part in your upbringing into motorsport and the interest that you had in the sport itself. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone always asks, like, how well did you know him, or did you know? And of course, I was very young at the time. I was only probably about 5 or 6 when I knew Richard, and he would be forever. How long? He was always over for all the holidays, Christmas. And probably definitely the first push towards motorsport was by Richard. Or my dad and Richard together. Yeah. Because all the presents were always car related.
I was going to say, did you get like little souvenirs and bits of team kit and stuff?
Well, I was an Alpine Stars baby. Richard, whilst he was a Subaru, was full Alpine Stars kit, and they of course probably brought out like a World Rally baby range.
Oh, love it.
So there was like I was covered in Alpine style t-shirts, and it was as much free team kit as you could get.
Brilliant.
And always big like Scalextrics models or something like this and Richard always trying to compete with me, and went down quite well.
Yeah, because we are very similar ages. So you would have been, was it 7 years old when Richard lost his life?
Probably.
Do you have memories of like having conversations with him and talking about rallying?
Definitely just brief, patchy memories here and there. It was always the Scalextrics ones. I always remember because you'd make some ridiculous track.
Yeah.
Well, my dad probably made a most ridiculous track trying to
to
compete
precision,
with Richard.
Of course.
Ramps, jumps, hairpins, everything, and then me having a go at it. But I think it was more like a kamikaze crash arena at 7 years old.
Love it.
And then of course, probably going to a few events. I think the Castle Combe Rally Day, I remember. There was a lot of Colin and Richard at Castle Combe. That was always quite a big thing back then. I remember that. But it was a shame because I wouldn't have remembered Richard as he would have been everyone else knew him for, because that was when he was quite ill and he wasn't how you would imagine a world champion or someone at full athlete peak. So, but we knew him as just as being part of the family, always around for Christmas kind of thing, and it was just a nice time.
Nice. So it's clear that sort of influence was there from a very young age, and
definitely.
There wasn't really any question as to whether you would try and follow in his footsteps and those of your dad's.
Definitely no one else pushed me, because no one wanted me involved in this, especially my mum.
We've had enough.
Yeah, that's about it. No more car models, and just got pushed in any other direction, and then naturally it somehow came back round. It just had to somehow, and of course my dad being involved in motorsport and rallying for such a long time, and he took a break after passing of Richard, and we just weirdly, me and my brother took my dad for a trip in, I want to say 2013, 14, and we could work out Spa Formula 1 in Belgium was on, WRC Deutschland was on, and then you could go to the Nürburgring in the middle, all in one weekend.
No way.
So we just thought, okay, that's a good thing to do with my dad, and we'll do
that
as a little trip. So we saw the Formula 1, went past the Nürburgring, there was some sort of drifting and touring cars on, and then ADAC, Deutschland WRC round. And we did it all in one weekend. And
what a trip.
And it was incredible. So pretty much all corners, and after that, rallying was the one that stuck. It's like, I really enjoyed Formula 1, but I enjoyed Nürburgring. I loved just how like raw it was with that track, an insane track, and the drifting was amazing as well. But the rallying was the fact you just like walk into the vineyard with a load of random strangers. You'd be sat on some sort of ledge in like the Moselle Valley, and you just saw like Thierry Neuville or Ogier just canning it down this little road.
That's all the inspiration you need.
And I was like,
and then,
how do you get involved?
like, I want to do this. And it was just, a couple of years later when you eventually took on your first season?
Yeah, then because my dad hadn't been involved in rallying for 15 years, he hadn't touched it, hadn't really gone near any modern rallying, and he had no idea either, to be honest. And I didn't actually know his history. I didn't know anyone's history really, because I wasn't involved in rallying at that point. So then, of course, starts unraveling, and we work it out, and we just look up, there's a rally school down the road, and we just turn up at a rally school, and I'm driving a Ford Focus, learning to do a handbrake turn, basic maneuvers, and then, of course, my dad also supported David Higgins when he started. So same era, Richard Burns, David Higgins. There was the Higgins Rally School. So kind of spent a number of years just having a go, seeing if I'm enjoying it, see if I liked it.
Yeah.
And we really didn't actually know how to start. I was like, how do you get involved? And then one day we looked up an under-17 rally championship called the Junior 1000, and a lot of Nissan Micras and people just zipping around these little single venues all across the country. And my dad just woke up one morning, just at like 4 a.m, just drove straight to Anglesey to go and watch this little rally.
Aww.
Understand how it worked. And then we just spoke to a couple of teams, and next year we just did a couple of rallies in a Nissan Micra, and just progressively. But when I think about it, usually when everyone starts like as a hobby, and you just begin and you just get into it and see how it goes. I just remember my first year we were already doing seconds of kilometers. My dad was blowing up huge scaled maps of all the individual roads. We were doing graphs, and I was like, I haven't even done a rally yet, and I think I'm already doing seconds a kilometer, and I've never done a rally before.
That's brilliant. Just proper in at the deep end.
Because the last time he was doing stage rallying would have been running Richard Burns when he was trying to compete for the World Championship with there'd be Tommy Mackinnon, your dad, Grönholm, and then it goes to me driving a Nissan Micra round Carouenne or something.
He's like, move aside, pushing the other 15-year-olds over.
Yeah, literally, I'm like, what's happening? I'm just trying to learn to put it in first gear.
Yeah, wow. It's quite funny that I suppose our families have had quite a similar experience with rallying in that sense, that it was sort of like they lived and breathed it for so long, and then tragedy brought it to an end very quickly, and then nothing to do with it for years, and then all of a sudden here it comes back again.
You've got so much experience from not even one generation with Jimmy, like multiple generations of knowing how it works, how to do the sport. Just so many different tricks and ways of doing it. But of course, if you're a young driver, you just kind of want to, you're just learning, but you're already coming in with people really highly experienced and pushing hard, which is great, because of course that experience you can't find anywhere usually, and massively thankful to have all that knowledge to begin with, but it's intense. Definitely intense.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
guys.
literally. So it was an amazing start, and we did a number of rounds, and I was 16. I think you could start that championship when you were 14, but I started when I was 16, just because I had got into the sport maybe a bit later.
Yeah.
Then a few others, because a lot of people doing karting really young, and then karting to Junior 1000 at 14, and then when you get 17, go straight into adult rallying.
It is crazy. You talk to like teenagers now, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing it for like 7 years." I'm like, "How? How is this possible?" Like,
well, yeah, you see people when they turn 18 or they're 20 years old, and you've done it for 10 years.
yeah, it's mad. So the fact that you're probably coming in at quite a normal age to be learning to drive, and you've done so much in that space of time as well, which is
well, it ramped up, as
great.
I said, quite quickly.
Yeah.
It went from this. I turned 17, got my driving license, then straight into gravel rallying, and that's the next step in the UK, for us anyway. And we started with the Fiesta. I seem to have driven with Ford pretty much for 10 years.
I did notice this. I was having a little snoop on your EWRC profile, and it was like that first year of the Micra, and then it's all just various varieties of Ford.
Yeah, there was pretty much Ford for 10 years, and I went through the whole chain of Ford. And it made sense with M Sport being a British manufacturer as far as them building the cars here and running the cars, and having all the history with Malcolm and having such success. And they had all the cars they had, from a very junior car, and I started with the Fiesta R1, which is this manual gearbox and pretty much standard 1.6 Fiesta, and it was great a car just to learn in. But I also went to a early R2 sequential gearbox, and first time left-hand drive, and also rolled it on my first time driving it. So
perfect.
Baptism of fire in rallying and rolling it, getting used to left-hand drive.
Wow.
But no, I drove all the Fords and had an amazing time, just going from basically just learning it, getting as much seat time as I could, doing all the UK events. And I was also trying to be a cameraman, a mechanic, working on any job. I just basically got thrown at any team. That was the whole point. I was like, if I'm driving, I got to do every other job in the team. And so I was doing a lot of traveling, going all around BRC, ERC, working for teams, doing any job I could get my hands on, just to be part of the team and to see it from all angles. So you appreciate it from a mechanic side or an engineer side or the cameraman.
A really holistic approach to the sport.
Because that's how I had all this experience from my dad, just to say, well, you can't just be fast. You got to do the media. You got to be fit. And this is how he pushed Richard. Richard was a natural talent. But then my dad forced him and pushed him, and there's fitness and training and media skills, and he basically just tried to raise him up in all areas. And I think I got a bit of this treatment.
Your dad was ahead of the curve, honestly. Like, that's just so important.
Whereas in the era, it was still, I don't know, 80s, 90s, big. See, he was doing a lot of the, say, like cigarette work in the exhibition. So Rothman's working very close with Formula One when he started with Formula One, having just breeze block sheds, people turning up with the trailers with the Formula One car and just rocking up to a race. And the growth of like cigarette sponsorship and building big interiors for sponsors and clients. So he started doing this, and he had a good stint with Marlboro, Rothman's, Lucky Strike, this kind of time, building these interiors all around the world, which was the rise of professional sponsorship, drivers talking properly, saying the right thing on the TV, and training, eating all the right things, and this huge growth of like corporate sponsorship and just both sports, Formula One, or pretty much any sport, all the sport there, how professional suddenly everything got.
Yeah, very quickly as well.
Yeah, so he came from this background, so he knew what it would take for early sponsors. And there was also a computer industry booming at the same time, so that was Richard's main sponsor to begin with LMX Computers, which was a rival of Dell, Apple, this kind of time. So it was all going on, and at least he had this influence to kind of push me to say, well, you can't just do this, you have to do everything.
And that, I suppose, must have helped you in getting that sort of very quick, focused start to your rallying career, because you've got obviously your first year in the Micra, and then it was BTRDA, BRC, and within no time at all, you were then at Junior WRC level. Yeah. Talk to us about that sort of change from rallying in Britain to then taking on that sort of competition.
Well, that's why, as I was saying, it was a very quick ramp of, I had such a good time and like so enjoyable competing in the UK and Wales and Scotland, all these fantastic roads and night stages, and always having the sorely missed like Wales Rally GB just to come back to. You'd always do all these events with everyone, and you come back to Wales Rally GB and everyone was there. But then my dad, of course, knew the quickest way of progressing is being up against the best.
Yeah.
Like, if you're surrounded, it's just like a moving train. You're surrounded by the best drivers, and you just get brought along like a train. And we basically had our own little 1.6 Fiesta R2. We were running ourselves in our garage with a few mechanics we had who would help me and teach me how to build the car. So we built the car ourselves at the garage so I could learn how, from the ground up, how everything could work the best I could. And then we would trailer this car across to, I think we did Finland, and Germany, and GB, Wales Rally GB, and we did that ourselves, just driving off to these world events. Very big adventure, always amazing having all of us just travelling across to these places and then running this car and going somewhere like Finland in this tiny little front-wheel drive car, and it was terrifying. First time going to Finland and going on these stages, and they're so fast and massive jumps and crests, and then we just knew after that, and we're speaking to more the level of European and world championships. As soon as you see all these other drivers, you're like, this is very high level. And how good everyone was. So we were looking into the Junior World Championship, and we could just see that all the drivers that came out Junior World Championship could start off here, and then they got dragged along and was suddenly, by the end of the year, massively progressed. So that's how we saw it. So we spent a lot of time trying to get the budget together, working hard, getting more sponsorship, working any angle we could just to get this first year in the Junior World Championship. And that's when Pirelli took over it, and they had a much larger prize. It went from DMAC, JWRC to Pirelli, and Pirelli had this much larger prize. You get given a whole Rally 2 car if you won it.
Wild.
So I just felt like everybody rocked up that year. The first year, you had like Emil Bergqvist, Nils Solons. You have a lot of guys that are now winning the ERC or WRC events. Martin Sesks, you had Tom Christensen, Radstrom. You got a lot of guys that are all, Callum Devine, they're all winning their own national championships. So it was really intense competition. And rocking up and going to, I think the first round would have been Sweden. So first time snow, studded tyres, and then you go to Corsica, this 1,000 corner tarmac rally on an crazy island. Sardinia, really rough, hot, 40 degrees. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire going. There wasn't one time where you were settled and you felt comfortable.
Every event is so different as well when you're tackling it for the first time.
Exactly, and when you're at home, you used to say, for me, it would be Welsh gravel would probably be the most normal for me. I'll get used to it. Start to know where you're going. But when you go from Sweden and Corsica and then all these different specialists, and then you go to Finland, and you just get thrown into it in the deep end. That was the whole point. Thrown in the deep end and then work it out.
And I suppose when you're at that sort of level as well, you do then automatically have more media coverage and interest, and that should help bring in more sponsors as well and keep it sort of trundling along quite nicely.
You have the ball rolling. The intensity, the pressure, trying to find the right budget, trying to keep sponsors happy, trying to compete to this level. And when you're trying, and I was very thankful to have such a good little team around me to keep me on the straight and narrow, and just that intensity was amazing. But and I progressed so much within that first year. I banged up a car maybe a couple of times, but
that's how you learn, right?
You definitely learn a little bit.
You learn what you can't do, and then that helps you steer to what you can do.
One way of putting it. And I had an incredible year. Enjoyed it so much, and we progressed basically into the following year, and this just carried on, and we just basically we were following the seconds per kilometre from start to finish, and there was a massive game basically between, because you only did 5 rounds, and if you could do testing in between, that's a massive luxury, and if you could do even more rallies in between, so every rally was intense. It's like land running, and basically followed that into the next year. And I think that was a similar kind of base, Sweden, but I think we went to Turkey and GBTM with, and that was a new car. So every year I drove was a new car, a new location. I never went to the same place twice.
Huge learning experience for sure.
So that was always quite intense. So.
And then comes the big C. Big COVID comes and just stops that ball rolling pretty quickly. So we had
a lot of years in front-wheel drive, just attacking front-wheel drive, trying to get as much as we could get down and driving these cars. And then we just edged towards the four-wheel drive cars, which has always been quite difficult in rallying now. This big step of budget, learning four-wheel drive cars. And as I did my first rally in the Cambrian rally at the start of 2020, it went really well with Don Buckley, and then COVID hit. As I went into timing. Car. And like everybody, it was just a whirlwind, trying to pick up what you could when you could, and being in an events and exhibition business was particularly tricky.
Yeah.
We deal with public events, so that was not ideal. But I started a small business in COVID, and I kind of scrapped together any budget I could and anything, and tried to get out when we could. And we did like little bits of testing and rallies, and then it spun us in some really weird directions. And I ended up doing Cambrian M Sport stages, and then that was throughout. And then there was the new Rally 2 car M Sport developed, and I think someone like Martin Prokop was testing, and someone said, "Do you want to come down and test this car?" And I was like,
"Let me think about that."
Sure, I'll give it a go. And it was just, there was a lot of development testing. And then after that sprung an opportunity. There's a lot of people going down to do the Monza rally in COVID. First time on tarmac in a four-wheel drive car, but I managed to get the sponsorship, and I started this small company in COVID that managed to pretty much pay for most of that, and just to get out. And I was so desperate to get out there and try and do anything, but it wasn't ideal because I'd never done tarmac in a Rally 2 car. And now I'm in Monza doing a World Championship round. And we just thought, well, it's Monza. It's around a big racetrack. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of cones. You could kind of work it out from there. And then it was probably the hardest rally I've ever done, because it was that year of torrential rain. There was a snowstorm. It was like Monte Carlo, but you don't have snow tyres or studded tyres. And,
Jesus.
And you're doing these mountains. So I was like, baptism of fire again.
Yeah.
And I had Giorgia Ascaloni, an Italian co-driver, because of course I couldn't find a co-driver at the time, would go out to Italy in COVID. So I found an Italian co-driver that could speak English, and we'd never met before, and we ended up doing a Monza rally.
Wow.
And she was incredible. Speak 4 or 5 different languages, and first time on English pace notes, and did an incredible job. And
that's mad.
And we survived. We partially survived Monza. We had a little bit of a bang on just before Elfyn had his moment on Monza, where it was just sleeting down this fully icy road, and we managed to finish in the end, but it was a tough event. And that then followed on an opportunity to do Monte Carlo rally, which is just like iconic, legendary. We just thought, if I could do this without even any snow gear, then I can definitely do Monte Carlo rally. And again, I could get the sponsorship and find the right people in the right place, and these were the only events, like big events, that were going on without getting massively affected by COVID.
Yeah. Suppose it's one of those that that event at Monza would be such just a high pressure situation to be in at the time, but you come out of it and say, right, we've done that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes this other dream seem a little bit more accessible.
None of it was ideal, and none of it had a very strong plan, but it's the fact that in that time and place, I could find the sponsorship. It works for us. It got us out in a rally car, and doing an event like this is like a dream. I couldn't even believe when I was there doing Monte Carlo rally. This is insane.
I suppose in the lead up and the planning and stuff, there must have been so many pinch me moments. This is actually happening.
And it's that I thought Monza was really difficult, and I now have full appreciation for anyone who does Monte Carlo rally and also is successful with that event. It's complete hats off. That is a very tough event. Trying to trust someone with doing ice notes, and I had Callum Black and Keaton Williams with me, and we kind of wrote together this. I had Georgia again, I had Don Buckley, I had myself in a new car again, another new Fiesta, because that's how it fell, which was good, but also terrifying driving a brand new car on the Monte Carlo Rally and on black ice and full tarmac. And they completed it. It was tough, but if I ever went back again, it would be a lot easier.
It sounds like sort of in at the deep end, mad first experiences is the way that your rallying career has sort of gone from step to step.
And it's always been like, and it does work out. It's tough because you just got to be thrown in the tough end and kind of bite the bullet and get absolutely like destroyed by these amazing drivers, and then you learn from it. But it's also been in the moment, time, place, work, sponsorship. It's what we can get away with. Ideally, you'd want to do lots of testing, a load of French tarmac rallies and similar local events, but we were doing what we could in COVID, and we did that. And
then post-COVID, another huge sort of in at the deep end, totally new rally experience comes your way in the form of America. Talk to us about that, because that's something that not many British drivers have taken on. How did that opportunity come about? What was it like to travel, especially after COVID, to that side of the world and give it a go?
That was an odd one, but we were kind of trying to work out where's the best place to learn four-wheel drive cars, and after doing the Monte Carlo Rally, of course, we knew it's not the best. We don't have the budget, we don't have the time to do a full world WRC attack. It's not the right place to do this, and UK rallying was still hit and miss with COVID, and we didn't really know, and we kind of got to the summer that year, and Don Buckley, that was running me, was also running Barry McKenna in New York, and he had built him a team. He had a factory out there. Barry had this 17 generation world car. He was inviting another David Higgins to come out in another world car. He was running 10 rally R5 four-wheel drive cars, plus all in New York, and it's kind of like bubbling away out there. And you had Travis Pastrana in this big Subaru. You had Brandon Semenuk in another Subaru. You had Ken Block in I think a Skoda, and David Higgins and Barry all out there. And then my team, Dommy, was running these cars out there, and all these mechanics flying back and forth to New York, and it's just chaotic. And we decided that summer just to go out there and have a look, and I went out to the New England Rally, see what it was all about, and I was like, we have to be out here. We have to be out here. I had some good ties. I work in the US quite a bit, so and we know how good they are with media and sponsorship, and being around Ken and Travis, they're masters of sponsorship and media and putting on a great show. So we know this angle could work out to build a bigger plan for doing something in the WRC. So we were like, spoke to Dommy, who said, is there a car we can use out there, and how does it even work?
Like, where do we start?
And basically just said the next rally was Ojibwe up in Michigan, kind of that way. And it was a couple of weeks later in August, and I had been using Josh Davison as my co-driver. I did a Scottish round. I did a couple with, again, trying to do bits and pieces where we could, and I was meant to have myself and Josh. And I think on your previous podcast, you already spoke about this with Hannah, how we ended up in America.
Link to the podcast with Hannah McKillop. You can have a listen to that in the first season. Quite the story about your guys' first rally together and how it all came about. But the start of something special for you, I suppose.
Exactly. It was amazing. We just said, we had the car lined up, we got a few people on board, we pulled some deals together and
pulled a co-driver out.
And Josh, we were ready to go, and then of course we worked out Josh's passport was expired, unfortunately, the week of the rally. And it was ERC, WRC, all at the same time, so I couldn't find anyone I spoke to went, not around. And going to America as well with visas and this and that is never quite easy. And of course, I've known Hannah forever with the Forest Experience Rally School, so we've known each other for ages. And Hannah just propped up and said, "I can do it," and I was like, "Why not? Let's do it."
Sure, let's go for
it. Absolutely. I trust Hannah. She's ultra keen. She's done so many events with so many people all across everywhere, and I was like, my system at the time, I was learning as much as I could with a four-wheel drive car, and Hannah was trying to learn as much as she could, being the first time in a Rally 2 car as well. So it worked out, and we literally just 2 days later, we were both on a flight out to Chicago, drove like 8 hours up to this Ojibwe rally, and we just did the event, and it just spun this cycle of people I met out there. And this guy called Texas Dave that I met, and I ended up in Texas for quite a while pushing Formula 1 because he was hosting Red Bull for the Formula 1 down in Austin, and just kind of met all these characters, and Travis and Ken were just starting to have this huge, between Barry, Ken Block, Travis Pastrana and Brandon having this huge battle where the cars were being fast. They have pretty much an unlimited rule for the top class, so the cars are being quicker and quicker and quicker and more budget. So you're like, how do we do the next one, and how does it work? And I go to the next one and the next one. I was working for people out there. I was doing work myself with the exhibition side out in America, so I ended up just staying out there. And then Hannah came out again, and we did more events out there, and it was just this start of this amazing cycle in America where we pulled this team together for the following year with Dave, because I met him at his ranch. He had a rally school called Rally Ready down in Austin. And I was like, there's rallying in Texas? And that's like, why not? And being in America where it was with motorsport and Formula 1 just exploding out there, it was a good place. I was like, sure, there's opportunity out here for just media, sponsorship, and just trying anything. And when I met Dave, he introduced me to this coffee company called Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Iconic in the sport now.
And I was just this kind of quiet Brit, just coming over on my own, just trying to understand America a bit. And then next thing I know, I'm with Texas with this veteran coffee company, and quite out there as far as advertising, and Travis and the whole Nitro Cross and circus crew all going for it. So we then had a team of Texas Dave, Travis Pastrana, Rihanna Gazzamino, one of the bosses of Black Rifle Coffee, and myself. And we ended up having this weird, and Bucky Lasek, a skateboarder. We had this little team together, and we ended up doing a whole season, going all across the States and filming and shooting and seeing the most incredible places and wacky stories. So, like
sponsorship as you see in the movies, like
literally
such a cool sort of contrast to what you'd have been used to here in the UK.
I think I got most of my sponsorship and people I met at bars across the States.
Incredible.
Like literally just a handshake deal. It was like just chatting to someone there and then saying it, coming to this. I had to explain rallying a lot in America.
I was going to say, what is the general sort of approach to rallying?
It's a big place, and rallying, of course, has had this slow grow out there, but it's grown massively. If you go to the local area, people know it, but of course, America is a big place. And
bloody massive.
Yeah, and a lot of people rally, and you're like, yeah, this sport that people compete out in the middle of the forest or middle of nowhere, and you just close a road off and people just like look at you and go, no. Are you sure about that?
Yeah. I suppose it's one of those that you would meet people that either had no idea or were huge super fans. And once you get into that cycle, I'm sure
and the roads
then just grow and grow.
I had some probably the best events I've ever done out there. Just to like enjoy. I love the way they do their events because they put on such a big show. They closed down the high street. You'd at 9 a.m. you'd have to be on the high street. All the cars lined up the main promenade, and all the drivers have to be by their car. The whole town comes together. You have to do a national anthem every morning.
Okay.
It's all very American.
So it's very much like rally show meets.
Exactly.
Like
and you'd have like
rally.
Travis and Ken or something right out the front, and they would have a queue of like 1,000 people just everywhere. And I was like, there's a lot of people here, and they hardly even know what the sport is.
Yeah.
And they're selling merchandise and T-shirts, and they know what they're doing in the roads, like up in Oregon where it was Olympus Rally. It's like Wales Rally GB, like identical, like foggy, rainy, big pine forest, but the forest was the size of Wales.
Wow.
It was.
I suppose that's probably something that the Americans are very good at. It's like bringing their sport or their passion or whatever it might be to the public and making it loud and seen, whether people want to see it or not. They're like, this is us, we're here, this is rallying, have a look at these cars. Yeah. And that's something that we're not so good at in the UK. Like,
no.
We're just very coy, and we'll be like, oh, we'll just be over here if you guys want to come and have a look
exactly.
at rallying.
It's more like an open invite.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, you don't have to, you don't want to. They will literally put it in front of people.
Make yourself known.
And the fact that they still had that amazing rally angle that there wasn't barriers. There isn't things closing people off or having areas. Everyone could just go and see the cars and touch the cars, which is the best thing I think about rallying, is the accessibility that the sport goes to the towns in the middle of nowhere. It actually goes to these places, and the people can talk to these like heroes like Travis or Ken and just chat with them and how's it going. And really they got a great angle out there, and it goes up and down out there because it is difficult, because every time you went to a rally you would fly into a city and then still drive probably 8 hours to get to the event. Or like the team, it would be like 48 hours, 50 hours just to go from one rally to another.
Wow.
And it's getting there, and they've taken some massive steps this year. And just being around those guys, I learned so much being around Ken. And
I suppose there must have been a lot of pinch me moments when you're
insane,
shoulder to shoulder with the likes of
especially
Ken,
when you've
Travis.
grown up watching like all the Gymkhana videos or Nitro Circus videos with all these guys. Because this is like Ken coming from a shoe background and being a designer, and then being the one who sponsored all the drivers back then, and then sponsored drivers, snowboarders, skateboarders, and then becoming the driver when he was like 30 years old.
Wow.
And then became the driver to who he is now, and starting Gymkhana and the YouTube taking off and getting to where he is, and travel. Like when you work out what these guys can do and how they can get sponsorship, it definitely
they are masterminds.
But you saw them at Goodwood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just constantly and they're so easy to talk to and nice, and always they'll be the last person there. If they're like signing autographs or talking to people, they will be the last people there.
What was it like on a like personal level, getting to know those like heroes of the sport?
I think it was their way of turning it on and off with like dealing with family, because they have busy schedules. They are all the time flying from event to event, and it's not just rallying. It was like for Ken, it would be a designer meeting, it would be to do with business, it would be to do with rallying. He would have so many different angles all going on at the same time. So these guys are so busy, and how they could have the energy to deal with so many people in an event and focus on, like, to be able to focus and do the rallying in the first place is so difficult. And then do the media, then do the sponsorship and the business, and then have their families. And it was how they balanced that, which was really impressive. And they could allow time for everybody and not piss anyone off, which was always good. And it was amazing being around those guys.
Fantastic. Well, let's bring a pause there for some quick fires.
Okay.
Love a quick fire question. And I have a couple here for you. Starting with, what has been the most memorable rally of your career?
The one that I got the most out of probably was Wales Rally GB 2018. It was a car that I had stayed in for a while, and it was a car that I clicked with, and I got probably one of the best results I got for putting the work in and how much effort I put into this event. And the car was working, co-driver was doing a fantastic job, and everything kind of clicked together, and it was typical full fog conditions, rain and everything, and everything worked. And it was a really tough rally because I was ahead to begin with, then I lost a couple of minutes with punctures, then I ahead, and I go back again. It's this constant, like, it was really tough and annoying because everything kept on going wrong, and then we managed to push through it and got a really good result, and won my class on that event. So it's just, for me, a personal one.
One of those events that sort of reminds you what rallying is all about.
Yeah, the passion and everything was amazing.
Nice. What is the best piece of rallying advice that you've been given?
That's
Any one particular bit that sticks out?
Vittorio Caneva in Italy. I spent a lot of time with Vittorio, an amazing coach for tarmac rallying out in Asiago, Italy, and he always said, I will have a heart attack every time you go near this cliffside. Because I was so bad with like getting used to left-hand drive.
Judging your distances.
And his way of teaching us was just going down this cliffside mountain road, a normal little Renault Clio, and he was just pushing you. It didn't even have a roll cage in it. And he's pushing you so hard down this mountain road, and you're like inches away from a cliff. And I'm like, you're pushing me. You say you go faster, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, okay, I will have a heart attack. I will have a heart attack.
Love it. Next one here, an event that you'd redo given the chance. whether it's for good reason or bad?
I reckon Monte Carlo round.
Just to relive the experience of the whole thing again?
Mainly the challenge. Like, it was so tough doing that event for the first time, getting used to having an ice crew, getting used to driving on crossing tyres from studs to slicks and corner to corner, and taking in so much information and doing night stages on ice, and just constantly having to read the road. And when it went well, you got so much from it. But to do it for the first time was so intense.
Yeah.
So if I went back again, I would love to try and work it out a bit more and get a good result.
I suppose that's an event that you could do it year on year on year and be able to take so much every time. It's a specialist event, and it's completely different to any other rally. Nice.
But Safari is definitely high up there as well.
Well, this one could tie in. Favourite place rallying has taken you?
Oh, I would say Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I did Mexico quite a few times when it was WRC, and then it became the promoter event, and that's got to be one of the nicest, some of the best people, culture. Everyone's so enthusiastic about the sport out there. They just take everyone in, look after you, and the stages are so tough with the altitude and the heat, and everything about that event is a really massive challenge, and I enjoyed that one.
Nice. What is a rally car that you would love to drive that you've not yet had a seat in?
Probably 6R4.
Ooh, cool. Nice.
I've driven some amazing cars. I'm massively privileged to be able to drive World Championship cars or Group A cars, but I never actually drove something in that kind of Group B era where everything was a little bit less pristine.
An absolute beast.
Raw power, and like even looking at a Lancia S4, you look at most of the Group B cars, you're like, there's no roll cage in this. You're sat on a fuel tank, the engine's either behind you or just by your legs, and the danger factor is
massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. Suppose that's what like events like Goodwood are good for.
Yeah.
Being able to sort of get up and close and personal with those sorts of cars. And
and you can at least try it and not hopefully keep it in one piece. But imagining those guys in Corsica or Finland at night doing a 7-day event, which is, I don't know, 10 times the length of what it is now, and something like that, and it's got 1,000 horsepower, you're like, right.
Absolutely wild. It is just another world. Next one here. What is an experience still on your motorsport bucket list?
Ooh, right.
In any sort of capacity.
I think for me, it's always competing at the highest level in a WRC car. It's seeing the guys at the top of their game in some shape or form of a rally. That's always been for me. Driving at that quality, at that level, in a world rally car on somewhere like Finland would be just something else. So yeah,
fantastic.
Getting to that point would be incredible. Even just had to go once.
Please just let me in. And lastly, who would you like to see on the podcast next?
There's so many.
I know. It's a tricky question, and it can be taken in so many different routes.
And the best one for me would have, like, as you already had Hannah, and Hannah had such a, where starting from so many different national events and going to where she is now, and now just doing the Grampian on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, there's another little shameless promo. If you have not yet listened to Hannah's episode, go and listen to it.
Who else could we do? Have you done Higgins?
I've not done, but I have spoken to him about being on the podcast. So
David
hopefully...
or Mark?
Yeah, it was Mark that I spoke to, but...
Tuttle.
Another great one.
Richard Tuttle.
Yeah. There we go, we've got loads now.
There we go.
Yeah.
We could go for a lot now. We could do many.
I worked on just a car club motorsport panel at the start of the year, and Mark was on it.
Okay.
And had a bit of a catch up then, and we were just chatting about what I'm doing now in the sport and my podcast and stuff. And I was like, you need to come up and see the collection and film an episode. Robert Reed has also he's been mentioned a couple of times.
Robert just messaged me whilst I was in Edinburgh just then.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, it's just how there's so many people that all tied together in that same era, because it's like it's like now how everyone knows each other, but back then all competing in different angles, different co-drivers, mechanics, ice crew, gravel crew, and how everyone's careers ended up.
I know there's so many little twists and turns, and I think that's what's very special about like British rallying is like everyone's part of everyone's story somewhere along the line, which is
absolutely
pretty cool.
How a driver can then be an ice crew to then being an engineer or test driver, and they're competing together, then they helping another driver out, and it changes so much.
So there we have it. We've got Robert, Mark, David, Richard. We're coming for you all. You're not safe.
Great.
And that is the end of the quick fires. But before we end the podcast, let's talk a bit about this season and going forward. Tell us a little bit about what 2025 has had in store for you, because it has been a little bit different to the things you've done in the past.
Yeah, for me, it'll be consistency this year, as it's been going back and forth and doing stuff in the States and trying to keep that going, but of course focusing on work and trying to have a place where I have a good foundation to really give my maximum when I'm in a rally car. There's nothing worse than being halfway house with it. You either got to give it everything or nothing at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get myself in a position where I can have some consistency, build up the pace notes, build up everything, bit of testing, and just kind of keep at it, because it's been a very stop and start the last few years, which is frustrating, because every time you get back in the car it feels like you're going a million miles an hour again. So we did a bit in the Rally 3 car, which is a perfect car that steps between the two-wheel drive cars and four-wheel drive cars, and we thought with the one make series it would be a great place, high competition, Portuguese and Spanish rounds amazing, the roads are in great shape, and always a quite big challenge, and all the local heroes out there are very good.
Yeah, so I suppose it's quite similar to what like rallying was back in the day as well, with all the different like one make championships.
Exactly. So that's
down to the driver just going for it.
No excuses. You just got to do your best. And yeah, we did a couple rounds out there this year, and we're just trying to balance up time and budget, as it always is quite tricky. And we just did Goodwood with Dynamite and Rory Bell and myself, and
which was a huge success.
Yeah, we worked it out in the end. It was intense and crazy run. We got all these sponsors and people together, and media and partners and potential people for the future now. So it's definitely spun us in a slightly different direction. And it was a fantastic weekend. As always, that event is brilliant. But that was also, I was driving a Skoda Rally 2 car for the first time there.
Yeah, you had so much going on in a short space of time.
Yeah, always very intense. And this car was incredible. It's just so much, it was very easy to drive, and just got in it and took everyone out, and it was a fantastic weekend. So we're kind of weighing up now which way. I had another few opportunities in the States, Kentucky and Tennessee. I've still got the bits and pieces out in Spain and Portugal, and then potentially a couple UK rounds. We definitely have one nailed now, which would be the Woodpecker Rally, which is a close rally to home, where we've always done this a couple of times when I was up, kind of coming up, and it's a good place to be, where, as I said, consistency is where we want to have now.
Yeah.
And if that might be doing more UK national events, that'd be amazing, because I missed it, and the roads are fantastic, and there's a great calendar, and the BRC has been very active the last couple of years. Lots of good drivers coming and going and progressing to ERC, WRC. So
is that what the next couple of months has in store then? It's just sort of finalising which route's the best one to go down.
Exactly. But for me, getting seat time, if it's Rally 2 or Rally 3, is more just the consistency for ourselves. But hopefully have a couple of events in store and work off the back of that.
You mentioned briefly there Dynamite.
Yes.
Maybe Rory's someone that we need to get on the sofa as
Rory,
well to
definitely need to get
to dig into that. But give us just a little synopsis of that project,
yeah, sure.
Because you've been involved in it from the start.
Yeah, well, Rory's been very busy because, of course, very quick British rally driver that did the junior. We had such similar career paths and we didn't even know each other. We lived not that far away from each other.
It is mad. You've missed each other
this whole time, and I did the Junior World Championship, Rory did the Junior World Championship, and then he was doing BRC in a Skoda Rally 2 and got some really successful results all across the board. And he then got a bit quieter after, I think it was the BRC a couple of years ago, because he started to put all of his energy into this app, which is called Dynamite, and it's an AI and machine learning live stream, crowd streaming platform. So, because rallying is one of the most difficult sports to cover in any broadcasting front. You got people all over the place. You're in the middle of nowhere, roads in the middle nowhere with just nightmare conditions, and to have cameramen all holding massive rigs
bits of kit
in the rain, in the fog.
Yeah.
But you have thousands of spectators, hardcore fans of spectators lined, and they know what time to be there, when to be there. They've all got phones in their pockets most of the time, and they're all filming.
Yeah.
So if you're running a 30, 40k stage and you've got hundreds of people all lined down this road, basically with Dynamite, you can film, say there's a person on the first corner, next corner, third corner, fifth corner, all the way throughout lined. They'll film the rally car, and then it gets edited with AI machine learning, and then the next person films, and then the next person will film, and it all gets stitched together with AI, and then in real time, so the person can watch the live stream instead of a traditional sense of a live stream. Would be someone sat there with a rig for 4 hours watching the same corner with a 2-minute interval or more, and it's quite slow. Mm-hmm. This will be car going from start, corner, throughout all 30, 40 kilometers of that stage, per stage.
Yeah.
And it's free for fans to jump on and watch the live stream. It's
such a cool concept, and it's one of those that you think, like, how is it not been imagined before? But it's the execution of it that is so difficult.
And the technology is just getting there now, with signal and AI machine learning growing so quickly, and it's worked out very well for a sport that's always suffered a lot.
Yeah.
Because the budget you need for a big live stream is, you just blow the budget quite quickly. And with this, it gives it to the fans much rawer, because I think the thing rallying gets its most views is probably those YouTube video of like a crash complication or action rally videos, and it's got millions of views, and it's just guys who have their phones hanging out in the corner,
like pixely wobbly footage,
and it shows how quick the cars
raw,
as well. Like they look what they are when you're actually watching it, and how good an iPhone is or Android is, the quality is incredible. So if everybody's doing this, and it actually gives back to the fans in the way of, the more you film as well, the more points you get. So you can, at the moment, we're delivering a Rally 2 ride.
Yeah.
So the person who's got the most points and filmed the most rallies will get a ride in a Rally 2 car. So that's what we were doing at Goodwood. We were giving passenger rides to all the Dynamite fans that had won on the app.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people competing, and we're running a lot of national rounds. It's probably the most rallies I've ever been to in 1 year.
I love it. It's such a cool concept.
Me and Rory just like going around, jumping on cheapest flight we can find, and then just film as much as we can, and then getting a lot of other fans involved, and you actually see how passionate everyone is for the sport, people that love it, and something we can give to fans as well, and build it up, and there's more viewers, more fans, it gets more people involved, and it's helpful for drivers and co-drivers for the sponsorship. No, it is. It's
such a mad project, and when you download the app and you can see what it can do, it is fantastic. So if you haven't yet come across Dynamite, if you haven't looked into it, highly recommend checking it out. I will put the Dynamite socials in the description of this podcast as well, so that you can go and check it out. I will put Tom's in as well, so that you can keep up with his bits and bobs. But no, Dynamite is class. It'll be cool to see what comes of it in the months and years to come.
Yeah, we have a new version of it coming out in the next few months, so that'll be a big step in the right direction, and we're just trying to get it out to as many events as possible now.
Yeah, maybe that's when we need to get Rory on the sofa then.
Absolutely.
Time it in for the next launch.
Someone who's done all this rallying and now focus fully and solely onto this app to give back to rallying. It will be
really cool.
Definitely worthwhile to see where it's going to be in the next few weeks.
No, he's got a cool story to tell, and it would be really fun to sort of maybe bring it to a slightly different audience and those that are listening to the podcast, watching the YouTube videos. So we'll work on that one. And for now, I think we'll bring this one to a close because we have done quite the amount of talking.
Lots of talking.
Tom's got the coffee shakes.
Yeah, too much caffeine now.
And thank you so much for
thank you.
Coming up, taking the time to share your story, for bringing this whole collection to life as well. It's been fantastic.
No, it's been incredible to do a project like this, and it's been so close between both families, and have it all come together in one place. It's been great.
No, it's been a fab project. And for those of you that are watching, listening, be sure to keep up with Tom's journeys into the future. We'll see what 2026 has in store, and we'll be watching it yearly.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.
See you.
Goodbye.